All right, here's a dare for you. Look outside. What do you see? Strangers walking by, people going about their day, the hustle and bustle of life. But here's the question. Do you see kindness? Is that our default, or are we just pretending? Rutger Bregman, in his groundbreaking book, Humankind, A Hopeful History, flips the script on what we've been told about human nature. So, are humans really good, deep down? Let's find out. Think about it. We've all heard that people are selfish, ruthless, even cruel when it comes down to survival. History is packed with stories of war, betrayal, and the dark side of humanity. And if you've ever taken a psychology class, you've probably heard about studies that paint us as obedient to the point of harming others or indifferent to suffering. But here's where Bregman comes in. He asks, what if we've got it all wrong? In Humankind, Bregman challenges these stories and those studies, suggesting that they may not tell the whole truth. He says that when you look past the sensational headlines, what you find might surprise you. What if, instead of focusing on the negative, we shifted our perspective to see the inherent goodness in people? It's a radical thought, isn't it? Bregman digs into history and research to argue something radical. Most people are, by nature, kind. We've been trained to believe in the worst because it's more dramatic. But the reality? Humans are much more cooperative than we think. Let's talk about disaster research. When tragedy strikes, what do you imagine? Chaos, looting, every man for himself, right? Bregman shows us that in most cases, the opposite happens. When Hurricane Katrina hit, media reports were quick to paint a picture of rampant looting and violence. But studies revealed that most people banded together to help each other, even risking their own safety. The idea that people descend into selfishness when things go wrong? It's mostly a myth. Instead of running away from danger, many ran towards it, offering help and support to their neighbors. And it's not just during disasters. Bregman revisits classic psychological studies, like the infamous Stanford prison experiment and Milgram's obedience test, pointing out how these experiments were influenced, sometimes manipulated, to produce shocking results. Why? Because sensationalism sticks. But what if those results were outliers, not reflections of who we really are? What if the true nature of humanity is far more complex, layered with kindness and compassion? So, what's Bregman's argument in the end? He says that when we look at anthropology, history, and modern studies, the overwhelming evidence points to one thing. Humans are wired for kindness. We survive not just because we're strong, but because we're social, empathetic, and cooperative. The doom and gloom narratives are powerful, but Bregman dares us to look beyond them. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't about ignoring the dark side of human nature. We've seen what people are capable of under the influence of power and propaganda, as Hannah Arendt pointed out with the banality of evil. But Bregman argues that these moments don't define us. They're deviations from the norm, not the baseline. The baseline is our capacity for empathy, our instinct to connect, to help, to uplift one another. So, here's the question we started with. Are humans actually good? According to Humankind, the answer is yes, more often than not. We're capable of kindness that goes beyond our individual needs, cooperation that strengthens us, and empathy that binds us. The stories we've been told might focus on the darkness, but Bregman dares us to see the light. But here's the real takeaway. Believing in humanity's goodness doesn't mean ignoring the bad. It means recognizing our capacity for both and choosing to nurture the part that builds, helps, and connects. It's a dare worth taking, don't you think? Imagine what could happen if we decided to see the best in each other. If we chose to believe that, deep down, people want to do good. What if we approached each interaction with the assumption that kindness is the default? The ripple effect could be profound. Consider the small acts of kindness we witness every day. A stranger holding the door open for you, a neighbor checking in on an elderly resident, or even a simple smile from someone passing by. These moments might seem trivial, but they're the threads that weave our communities together. They remind us that we are not alone, that we are part of something larger than ourselves. And think about the power of stories. When we share narratives of kindness, we inspire others to act. We create a culture of compassion where helping one another becomes the norm rather than the exception. Bregman's work encourages us to rewrite the narrative of humanity. Instead of focusing solely on the negative, let's celebrate the countless ways people show up for each other every single day. Yes, we need to acknowledge the darkness. We need to confront the injustices and the pain that exist in our world. But we also need to shine a light on the goodness, the resilience, and the love that persist despite it all. We can hold space for both realities, the good and the bad, and still choose to believe in the better angels of our nature. So, would you take the dare to believe in the goodness of humankind? Would you challenge yourself to look for kindness in your everyday life? If this sparked something in you, I encourage you to share it, to talk about it, to spread the message that we are more than our worst moments. Let's make a conscious effort to choose kindness. Let's lift each other up and create a world where empathy reigns. It's a challenge, yes, but one worth undertaking. Because at the end of the day, when we believe in the goodness of others, we often find that goodness reflected back at us. So next time you step outside, take a moment to really look. Look for the kindness, the compassion, the humanity that surrounds you. It's there, waiting to be seen. And who knows, you might just inspire someone else to see it too. In the end, Bregman's message is a hopeful one. It's a reminder that, while we are capable of darkness, we are also destined for light. We can choose to nurture the part of us that connects, that cares, that builds bridges rather than walls. And that's the real dare. To believe in each other, to trust in our shared humanity, and to act on that belief every single day. So let's take that dare together. Let's choose kindness, let's choose hope, and let's choose to see the best in one another. After all, what we focus on grows. And if we focus on the goodness in humanity, perhaps we'll find a world that reflects that goodness back to us. Are you ready to join me in this challenge? Are you willing to believe that, despite everything, humankind is capable of so much more than we often give ourselves credit for? If so, let's spread this message far and wide. Let's remind each other that we are more than just the sum of our darkest moments. We are a tapestry of light, woven together by countless acts of kindness and compassion. So, here's to believing in the goodness of humankind, to nurturing the light within us, and to daring to hope for a brighter tomorrow. Because in the end, we are all in this together, and together, we can create a world that reflects the best of who we are.